Now, we promised you when we're looking at this type of things, we said, what are the actionable insights? So what does a professional person and a team of professionals, if I was advising someone who presented me with this particular scenario and their overall portfolio, what is it that I'm going to be looking for in terms of understanding where a client might have a potential opportunity? So I'm going to do an equity assessment straight away. Now, the first way in which I'm looking at that, and it's a pretty healthy equity position because effectively net position is overall equity, but the banks will tend to only lend to 80% unless you want to go into mortgage insurance territory. But I can also see through the lending breakdown that I've got a nice little understanding of each security and what might be available against that security at an 80% LVR, and that's all taken from the value of the property at that particular time. In addition to that, I can also go into the home dashboard and I can see a nice summary of that where it's not only incorporating the investment property equity, but I've also got a lot of equity in my family home. And so overall, this particular household had around 691,000 of available equity. Now, what does that mean in terms of, have we got lazy equity? Well, that depends in terms of where you are on your wealth accumulation journey. If you are still in accumulation phase, then naturally we've got a lot of lazy equity there, and there's potential for an opportunity to maybe do some further investing. But if you're, let's say, my age, and you've already got your portfolio built, paying down that debt is going to be an important part of what that particular story looks like. So it really is important to understand the benefits of equity as part of that particular story. So what I'm going to do now is just unpack that story for you. So there's the three properties. That equity assessment that we've just done is to get that valuable data out. We need to know your values and also the debt exposures. What we would consider as being healthy equity, so enough equity to potentially look over the fence to see if there's any investment opportunities. A rough idea is around 80,000 in available equity at an 80% LVR. Obviously, you can use savings as well for those people who are playing along at home. But it is really important to understand that that's the situation that we're talking about. Now, at the end of the day, the real equity that you've got is what the bank says is the valuation of your property. And a lot of banks will use independent valuers, but those independent valuers are also human beings, and sometimes they make different assessments. So that's why using a mortgage broker to get that valuations could be a way in which you could potentially release that equity if you are in that accumulation phase. So step number one for this particular couple, I've now seen that they've got obviously ample equity if they wanted to continue to build out that portfolio. But equity is just not enough. A lot of people make the mistake to think, well, I've got all this equity, why won't a bank lend me the money? Well, these days we've got responsible lending obligations. And so we need to look at the income as part of what we would do in terms of, lending people money. So